The M200, the Canon M200. I bought this camera back in August of 2020 when I was trying to set up my live streaming. I ended up using the Sony A5100. I love it. That's what I'm using right now. As a matter of fact, I'm going straight into OBS because I wanted to get my live streaming set up, right? For random live streams. I am not a live streamer whatsoever, but you know, sometimes I like to live stream my gameplays and whatnot. So I was having a hard time getting the A5100, and so I decided to pull the trigger on the M200. And well, long story short, I was able to get the A5100 because that is what I really wanted. Today I was doing the review of this chair, and I'm shooting B-roll with it. And I've used this for I think a couple of my other videos, and the problem that I found today is that it started blinking red, and I was like, okay, what is that? And so I tried to hit record again because I was shooting B-roll of the chair, and suddenly there's an overheating problem that I didn't know about. See, I've had the camera just sitting here collecting dust. I put it back on the box because I wasn't using it, and suddenly I'm like, oh, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and use it again. It's, you know, new camera, new technology, whatnot. It's a bad release from Canon, and I already passed my return due date on eBay because I bought it on eBay brand new, and well, there's nothing I can do. I bought it brand new, so guess what? I'm stuck with it. Is there any fix to it? No, there's no fix to this problem. Absolutely no fix. I already browsed Google, I already browsed YouTube, people talking about this camera overheating. Now, I like to record 1080p 60 frames per second. And that is the reason why I also got my Canon 80D, because I like to record at 1080p 60 frames per second. This one records up to 4K 29 FPS, and also records 1280p 720p 120 FPS. But those are frames per second that I don't use. I stayed with 1080p 60 frames per second, and so I'm not gonna be able to do it. The only way to record with this camera, it's 1080p 30 frames per second before the overheating starts, and that is a real problem. I wish that I would have known this before buying this camera. For live streaming, it's the same thing. Well, actually, for live streaming, it can go up to 30 minutes of standby, and then it'll shut down. And that is the reason, like I said, that why I bought it for live streaming. So I ended up using the Sony A5100, and the only way to honestly record with these little SLRs, it's to, you know, use the USB, which right now that's what I'm using. I'm going straight, like I said, I'm going into OBS with my Sony A5100 out into a capture card, $30 capture card that is only recording at 30 frames per second, 1080p. The capture card does not go 60 frames per second like advertised. Only the cam link will. So buyer, be aware. If you want to buy the Canon M200 for blogging, make sure you're going to be staying with 30 frames per second, because at 60 frames per second, 5 minutes into the recording or 5-6 minutes into the recording, it overheats. And seriously, I regret myself from buying this camera. I regret it so much. I paid like $500 for it. I regret it, and I feel stupid now. But it's something that I didn't know about. So lesson learned here that I want to share with you right quick. Before you buy a camera, before you buy anything tech related, look for the cons. As an example, if you're going to buy a graphics card, look at the overheating problems, or type in the name of the product. Let's say you're going to buy the Canon M200. Go ahead and search Canon M200 overheating or low FPS, or just type the worst things that you can imagine and go off of that. And that's one thing that I didn't do, honestly, and I feel bad about it. I feel cheated by Canon, that the sensors, because this is a mirrorless camera, it overheats. So why even allowing me to record 1080p 60 frames per second if the damn thing is gonna overheat? Why? This is beyond stupid. Canon, this is beyond stupid. Don't release products like this if we're not gonna be able to use at their full potential. What is this? Enough with the rant. Buyer beware.